When I was about 9 or 10 years old, our house caught fire. And they never really did solve the puzzle, but they believe it was the alarm clock radio next to my bed that had some stuff around it. And as the fire began to spread through the house, of course, we all rushed outside, and my mom ran outside to get the cars away from the house and out of the garage before there was an explosion. And as she backed her van out, she ran over our cat. And the cat died as a result of being squished by a van. And, you know, that just kind of adds tragedy to tragedy. It's a bad thing to have your house catch fire. It's a worse thing to lose your family pet as a result. But because of the idea of backing the vehicle out of the driveway and running over the cat by accident, I began backing my car in to the driveway from the very first day that I bought a car. And most of my life I've owned bigger SUVs, sometimes lifted up. I remember when we bought our first 4x4 Suburban, my wife had gone to the real estate office where we paid our lease and backed over a Lexus like the second day we had the car. It barely scratched the bumper on the Suburban, but it did almost $4,000 worth of damage to the Lexus. I don't pull into driveways because of that. I back into parking spaces at Starbucks. I back into parking spaces everywhere I go. The habit of backing into parking spaces has come because there have been so many tragedies caused while backing out of the driveway, backing out of the parking space. When I drive fire trucks, they back into stalls, they back into emergency locations if they can, because quick exit is a big deal. So what does that have to do with living a more excellent life? Well, the reality is there are some things that we do, kind of like we discussed last time, habits that have been habits that we've picked up from somebody else, habits that we've seen other people do, or that have been kind of passed down from generation to generation, and now they're habits of our own life, and so we continue to do them. And sometimes those habits serve us well. Sometimes those habits don't serve us well at all. As an illustration, when we moved into our home in North Fort Worth back in 2004, when we first moved into that home, it was a very small community. It was a very small neighborhood on a very small road way past the Texas Motor Speedway. And so I would back my car in the driveway. I would get up every morning. I would get in the car. I would turn to the left. I would go to the stop sign. I would turn to the left. I would go to the stop sign. I'd turn to the right, and I would be at the highway when I got to the next stop sign. And it was a blinking light, and I would hit the highway and zoom, I was in town. And it took about 15 to 20 minutes to get to town. It was a 14-minute drive, so that was pretty fair. Over the 7.5, 8 years that we lived in that community, though, they built another elementary school. They built 2,200 more homes. They widened the highway. They added a turn lane. They added 2 more turn signals. They added 3 school zones. And so if I would pull out of my driveway and turn left, which has always been my habit for 6.5, 7 years, in that last year that we lived there, if I pulled out and I turned left, I would run headlong into school zone number 1 before I even got to the stop sign. And then when I got to the stop sign, I'd turn the corner, and half the time I'd be behind the school bus, which would stop at every corner to pick up more kids. And then I would get to the first light and turn, and there would be a crossing guard. And as we went up the hill, there would be another light, and there would be several cars, dozens of cars, at that one light to get on the highway. And if that was the case, it could take me 20 to 25 minutes to get out of the neighborhood. It used to take me less time than that to get all the way to work. And so what was a 14-minute commute became an hour-long commute, driving exactly the same way, on exactly the same path, and exactly the same distance at exactly the same time of day. Now, I found if I got up early enough to get out of the neighborhood before the school kids started moving, before the school buses came, before the school zones started, that I could still get to work in 15 or 20 minutes, but that meant I was there an hour and a half early. That's frustrating. But here's the one thing that was also true. If I turned to the right and went through 3 turns and around a little corner, when I popped out on the highway, I was on the other side of Texas Motor Speedway. I could cut through the roads of the Speedway, which is open public roads. It's perfectly legal. And I would pop out on the other end of the highway with no school zones, with no bus stops, with no children crossing the street, with no threat of running over anybody or getting in a rush or having 400 cars in front of me at the stoplight. And the difference between 25 minutes to get out of the neighborhood and 3 minutes to get out of the neighborhood was as easy as deciding to go right instead of going left. Now, what had changed? Logistically, a lot had changed. A lot of people had moved in around us. A lot of things had grown up in our neighborhood, the school and the school zones and the lights. But the habit of pulling out of the driveway and going left, pulling out of the driveway and going left, pulling out of the driveway and going left, meant that that habit added time as life changed around me. Changing that habit kept me back in the time frame that I was accustomed to, but it really meant changing that habit in a way where I was allowing my habits to dictate my process and my progress. See, we often find ourselves in that place where we have habits that we really don't think much about. We don't think through a habit, and so it just kind of owns us. And again, some of those are good habits. They're beneficial. Eating the right foods is a good habit. Exercising regularly, that's a good habit. Reading a new book every now and then, that's a good habit. Having open, genuine conversations with people, that's a good habit. Spending more time with people face to face than you do on Facebook, that's a good habit. Being willing to shake hands and give a hug to a stranger from time to time, that's a good habit. Smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, or 2 or 5, or drinking a 6-pack of beer every night before you go to bed, or gambling until you're broke. Those are not good habits. Those are destructive habits. Those are habits that not only are not productive, they're counterproductive. They're not neutral. They will destroy you. They'll make you broke, they'll make you fat, they'll make you old faster, but they're not going to make you better. And if you want to change your life, you've got to realize the difference between turning left and running into all the traffic and all the things of life that slow you down versus turning right and running into all the things that could make your life better. So this is a really short chapter. This is a really short video. We're on video and chapter number 5. It's called the WIPIT flowchart. The WIPIT flowchart is really, really simple. All I'm going to ask you to do is take that roll of butcher paper that we started with in the last chapter, where we made the list of all the things that we see other people do that drive us crazy, and all the things that we see other people do that we look at and go, that's a good idea, I should do that. And we're going to label those. We've got them in columns already, but now we want to label those. Are they good for me, or are they bad for me? And not just a good habit or a bad habit, but will they progress me toward my goals and visions, or will they cause me to come to a standstill? So if you have the book, we're going to look at page 53. So there are some questions on the screen. They are this. What if I keep doing this? What if I pull out of my driveway and I turn left every time? Well, I can expect some specific results as a part of that. So what will be the result? What if I turn left? Well, the first result is I'm behind a lot more traffic going left than I am going right. What is the short-term effect? Well, the short-term effect is I'm going to be late getting to work if I don't leave an hour and a half earlier, because turning left puts me behind all of that traffic. So what is the long-term effect? Well, the long-term effect is over the next hour or so that it's going to take me to get to work, I'm going to be stressed out. I'm going to be irritated that I'm going to be late. I'm going to be angry that all the things that I wanted to get done before the workday started aren't going to get done. I'm going to be fed up with all the traffic and the honking of horns and all of these things. And it was as simple as, do I go left or do I go right? And then the last question, and I want you to memorize these questions. I want you to write these questions down, and I'm not kidding, write them down, because I want you to ask them of everything you do. Even if it's not yet a habit, but it could become a habit, I want you to ask these questions. What if I keep doing this? What will happen as a result? What are the short-term effects? What are the long-term effects? And here's the most powerful. How does the effect or the result of this habit, short-term or long-term, how does the effect or the result of this habit impact the goals and the vision that I have for my life? How does the short-term, long-term effect and results of this habit affect my goals and my visions for life? So in the rows, and you can make as many rows as you want to. On the left side, you're going to have your WIPIT flowchart. That stands for the what if process. I want you to identify some of the daily habits, the ones that were on your big butcher roll, the good habits and the bad habits both, and look at the butcher roll if you have to. In the columns, here's how you're gonna label these. You ready? STR. These are the columns across the top of your grid. What are the short-term results? So I turn left out of the driveway. I'm 30 minutes to 45 minutes later for work. So I'm an hour late for work, or it'll take me an hour to get to work. What are the long-term results? I will get to work. So the next one will be STR. The next one is LTR across the top columns. So you got what if process. You got all your habits. These are all the rows. The columns will say STR, short-term results, long-term results, LTR. The next will be GF. And this is a fit for my goals. This is a habit that fits into my goals. So the long-term result of turning left out of my driveway is that it's going to frustrate me, it's going to irritate me, and my day's already going to be behind, and I'm going to be stressed out, and that's not good for me medically or in any other way. Stress does nothing good for the body. GF, is this a good fit for my goals, or is it a goal fit? The next column is GC. So will this be a goal conflict? So you got short-term results, long-term results, goal fit, or goal conflict. If I have a goal of being in better health, and I know that turning left out of my driveway is going to delay my day, start it later, and stress me out, then that is not a good fit for being healthier in my life. It is not a goal fit. It is, in the next column, it's a goal conflict. So I would put an X in goal conflict. Or I would be more elaborate and say this is a conflict with my goals because it's going to stress me out and cause me to have bad habits like eating donuts while I drive to eliminate the stress rather than exercising or getting to the gym earlier, or getting to work earlier and going to the gym first. All of those pieces are going to start to come together as you fill in each of these columns. And then the final one is, what impact will this habit have on my insuperable vision? As I look forward to those things that we worked on in chapter 2 and 3, as I look forward to those things that I feel like have been inspired in me to do, the place I want to live, the job I want to have, the car I want to drive, the relationships I want to maintain, the things I want to accomplish that are inspired in me. Again, look that word up if you don't know what it means. Even if you think you know what it means, look up inspired. It's a big deal. But as I look forward to my vision and I measure this habit, and I measure the results of this habit, turning left out of the driveway versus turning right, I hope you're catching how ridiculously simple these, what seem to be tiny, irrelevant decisions look like. Did I turn left or turn right out of the driveway? One way is an hour of stressful driving, the other is 20 minutes of easy driving. It seems like a really simple and inconsequential decision, but the decision is enormous. Its impact is enormous. How will it fit? Short-term results, long-term results. Does it fit my goals? Does it conflict with my goals? And how does it impact my vision? If you look at your long-term vision and when you see this goal, you realize this is not going to make me any better. This is not going to help a thing. That's when I want you to back off from that goal and go, or from that habit and go, I really need to pick another habit. I need to have a habit that's actually going to enhance my goals, short-term, long-term, and goal fit. That's really kind of the ideal. Short-term, it's going to get me closer. Long-term, it's going to keep getting me closer over a long period of time. And it's going to fit in with my goals, and it's going to enhance my vision. I think I've given you a pretty good result of that. Again, if you've got the book, it's on page 53. You'll see kind of a breakdown of some of those examples. In the vision impact, one of the coaching clients that I worked with, and the illustration is in the book, but as I worked with her on her vision, she was having a really hard time casting a vision for her life. She was a single mom with a couple of young kids, elementary to middle school age, and she said, I I'm having a really hard time figuring out what the next 3 to 5 years is going to be like, much less what my life is supposed to be. I really am just trying to get over where I am today. And I said, well, let's start with bringing the vision down a little bit then. Let's pick something a little simpler, a little closer. And so as we worked through that, she said, my vision is kind of having 2 new bicycles under the Christmas tree for my kids at Christmas time. And I said, that's not hard at all. And so let me read that to you the way that it came out. It says, I'm standing in the living room on Christmas morning. I'm watching them as they stumble from their bedrooms and their eyes light up as they scream. The bicycles under the tree are exactly the ones they wanted. I know it was tough, but all the sacrifice has paid off. The overwhelming joy in their hearts is worth everything I gave up. So what did she give up? Well, we went through this WIPIT process, and I asked her to list all of the things that she did. And I said, let's go back to your daily routine. Because for me, it's as simple as, do I turn left or do I turn right? Do I have a 15-minute peaceful drive or a 45 to an hour stressful drive? So I said, let's kind of start there and let's see what your day looks like. And I bet we can find the bicycles hiding in the day. She said, oh, no, you don't understand. That's $200 or $300 by Christmas. I don't have that kind of money. And so I said, well, let's just back up. Let's walk through your day and see if the bicycles are hidden in your day somewhere. So we started from the morning routine and getting ready and getting in the car and heading to work. And she mentioned that she would drive to work on a certain path every day. She would stop in and see her friend at the 7-Eleven, and they would have a little chat, and she would buy a pack of gum and a bag of donuts and a Diet Coke and then get back on the road and go to work. And I said, well, how long have you been doing this? She said, oh, years. I said, well, aside from how the bag of donuts, the Diet Coke, and the pack of gum impact your health, your weight, your conditioning, let me ask this question. How much do you spend on that? She said, oh, the Diet Coke's, I don't know, $1.50. The donuts are 99 cents. The pack of gums, depending on which one I get, anywhere between $1 and $1.50. I said, so you're spending somewhere around $3 or $4 every day. She said, yeah, roughly. I mean, it's nothing. It's not like a lunch budget or anything. It's just, a couple of bucks. I said, you're right, it is a couple of bucks. But let me ask you this. What if you skipped the gum? If you bought the Diet Coke and the donuts, we'll consider that breakfast, although it's a horrible breakfast. If you skip the gum, and instead of just not buying the gum then, you actually took the money out, the $1.50 out of your budget, and you put it in a coffee can and stuck it under the seat. If that's all you did, every day you go in, you buy your pack of gum, or you buy your donuts, you buy your Diet Coke, and you take the $1.50 for your pack of gum and you stick it in a coffee can. And on Tuesdays, when you stop to see your friend and you buy your Diet Coke and you buy your donuts, you take $1.50 that you would have bought gum with and you put it in the coffee can. And on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and so, I said, let's just do some really simple math. $1.50 a day is $3 every 2 days. That's $5.50 a week. There's 52 weeks in a year. Let's just assume you only work weekdays, Monday through Friday. You're looking at somewhere around $250 to $300 that's going to be in that coffee can when Christmas time comes. And I haven't asked you to make a major life change. I haven't asked you to go get a part-time job. I haven't asked you to give up or sell anything or put anything in the pawn shop. I've asked you to make one small decision to stop doing a very small thing. Giving up a pack of gum. Maybe you want the gum. You'd rather have the Diet Coke and the gum, and so you're going to give up the donuts. That's fine. It may take a couple more days to come up with the same amount of money. But if you can put away $1 a day, in 365 days of the year, you're going to have $365. If you know the day after Christmas, what you want your kids to have next Christmas, start today. Put away $1, put away $2. Put it in some place where you're not likely to spend it. And the odds are you'll be able to save. Now, saving is a habit. It's a discipline habit. It requires conscious effort. And you've got to work hard at that. When we look at the things in our life that we want to accomplish, short-term goals, long-term visions, we've got to realize those things don't happen on their own. If we have a bad habit of talking negatively to our boss, or we have a bad habit of seeing other people as in our way, that their life is what's causing our problems, if we want to blame shift for everything that goes wrong in our life, we don't take ownership of our own habits. We don't take responsibility for our own outcomes. And when we don't take responsibility for our own outcomes, we leave the power to determine those outcomes in someone else's hands. That's a hard place to be in life. It's a really disappointing place to be in life when you realize that you have given up, surrendered, or handed over control of your life to somebody else. I don't think that's where you want to be. I don't think that's the kind of life you want to live. If you want to live a more excellent life, you've got to take responsibility for your life. You've got to measure every single habit and ask yourself, if I keep doing this, what will be the result? It's logical problem solving. It's nothing real complicated. But using a WIPIT flowchart, stick that sucker right up there on the wall. Pull up another few feet of that butcher paper and start drawing it out. Here's all the habits that I have. Here are the questions I'm going to ask. What happens if I keep doing this? What about the short-term impact? What about the long-term impact? Short-term results, long-term results, goal fit. Does it fit into the goals that I have? Will eating that pack of donuts fit goal number 3 of losing 20 pounds? Will buying that pack of gum fit goal number 4 if I want to get my teeth cleaned and all prettied up? I can't answer those questions for you because they're not my goals, they're not my habits, they're not my responsibilities, they're yours. I don't have control of your habits, you do. I don't have any benefit from your results, you do. I don't have any ill effects from your results, you do. I'm not gonna get a payoff at all if you win. You get all of it. But in the same way that you get all the payoff, you have to take all the responsibility. So my challenge for you today is really simple. Grab the book, go to page 53, read through that list again. You can find the book, Live a More Excellent Life by J Loren Norris on Amazon.com. The same questions are on the screen. You just need to decide, is this a goal fit or a goal conflict? What are my short-term results going to be? What are my long-term results going to be? And if I keep this habit in my life, will it help or hurt my vision? If you will begin today, maybe just with 3 or 4 habits, and then begin to challenge yourself on a regular basis with every new habit that you add, I believe you're going to find the quality of your life is going to improve drastically. Small, incremental changes, continuously done over time. The mother of all learning is repetition. Dr. Caroline Leaf says it takes 21 days to break a habit, 21 days to create a new habit, and 21 more days to cement that habit into permanency. If you'll take 62 days on a great idea that replaces a bad idea, you will see the bad idea fade away in 62 days. 63 days. In 63 days, you could change your life in that area. What could you do in a year? Well, that's almost 63 days. You've got plenty of time. But start today. Write out your WIPIT flowchart and begin to find those things that are helping versus hurting your goals and your visions. I am J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.